Make sure we got everything straight. Sonic's on point, the whole nine. We in here, we in here. We do a quick test real quick just to confirm we are in fact live. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we in here, we in here. Good deal. All right, y'all. What's good, y'all? Back again. Another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York, and we in here. Now, normally, I'll come in here and I'll just recap an event that just happened, or, I'll just go live and just start running my mouth. But today we're going to do it a little different. I actually have a theme that I want to talk about. It's an article that I saw, and well, I have the news app on my phone. Shout out to Apple with that. And so I saw an article that I thought was pretty interesting. And it's leaning into what I kind of want to focus more of my content on. Now, don't get it twisted. You guys win. You beat me up. We're definitely going to do a lot more unboxings, 100%. So, that's what y'all want. I just got to make sure I give y'all what y'all need. So, we are going to be doing unboxings and we are going to unbox sneakers. So, that's definitely coming. I actually have some sneakers coming in the very near future because that's what y'all want to see, man. Also, I'm going to be doing a lot more of the family content as well because that's also what y'all want to see. Like all of my highest videos, as far as engagement wise, are either with the family, the 202 stuff, or sneakers or the shades. A lot of y'all really like that unboxing I did of the Louis shades. So, things like that. That's where I'm going to be moving. I'm going to focus more on unboxings and I'm going to focus more on family oriented content. I'm definitely going to keep the vlog going. Um, yeah, I love my vlog, man. I love my vlog, so I'm gonna keep the vlog going. But anyways, I just wanted to give y'all a really quick update. Um, Otherwise, I want to get into the topic that I actually had in mind and the reason that I decided to go live. As you can see, I have on my dad's shirt. Shout out to my brother Conrad who got me this shirt. I don't even remember when he got it for me. I want to say it was Father's Day, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, my brother Conrad, man, shout out to him. He really looked out by getting me this shirt. And, I really enjoy being a father. It's something that's very near and dear to me. It's a major part of my identity at this point. Like I can barely remember what life was like prior to having children. So, that's something that I want to lean into more. I know I get a lot of questions about fatherhood. I'm also in a lot of group chats that discuss fatherhood and things of that nature. So I want to definitely start focusing on that and speaking specifically to that niche because I do see that there is a need for fathers to speak out and help other fathers and give advice and give wisdom and give game or just simply share our experience. So that's what this is going to be. And again, I kind of went on a little tangent there, but I saw an article in my news app and I wanted to discuss that with you all. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen and then we can go into the discussion, which is probably going to be more like a monologue, but we're definitely going to get into it. And here it is. So the article says millennial dads more involved than their boomer slash Gen X counterparts, more focused on wives and kids. Um, yeah. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. And the reason I wanted to talk about this specifically is because if you look on Twitter, you wouldn't see that because, you got the gender wars going on in full effect. And, you just got people arguing about paying bills and whatnot and making it seem as if, guys aren't really out here caring about their families, which 100% is not the case. Well, not 100%. I think the percentage was in here specifically, but we'll get to that. Like I said, more than anything, with this channel, with this platform, we're going to talk about our sneakers, but we also gonna get this dad content in, man. Because what I'm seeing, like I said, if you look on social media, you look on Twitter, you look on Instagram, everybody's talking about other stuff, but nobody's really talking about this, which is actually very, very, very important. I speak on it from a first-hand account. My dad is awesome, and I say that as I've been growing older and as I've been creating my own family, I've been able to give my dad a lot of grace and a lot of understanding because ultimately my dad lived 4 hours away in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was in South Carolina. So, there was only but so much for him to do. And in my youth and my lack of knowledge, I would think that if he wasn't there, it was because he didn't care. Or if he didn't call me, it was because he didn't love me. But as I got older and I was in a similar situation with Coy living 2 hours away, not as far. So I'm still able to get there. But, there are events that I'm not necessarily able to make it to all the time. Or, there are times that I just simply can't be there due to proximity. Now, with that being said, I'm always on the phone with them. I'm always checking in as much as I can, or, when we're together, I make sure that I spend time with him or I'm doing things that he likes. So, he never has to question or he never has to wonder. But I think that kind of ties into the title here because, we as millennials, we're a lot more expressive with how we feel. And, we grew up hearing about mental health and, expressing yourself and saying what's on your mind. So, you know, because of that, I am emotionally intelligent enough to let my son know that, hey, even though you live across the border, what I'm saying, I love you. And if I'm not there, don't think it's because I don't care. Just understand that, either it doesn't make sense for me to get there or I literally cannot get there. So just having those conversations and letting him know that, hey, dad is here, man. Dad is involved. That goes a lot further because typically what happens when you grow up in a single parent household, and your mother is the primary care person, then, you know, and this is very vulnerable. This is that expression is I'm talking about. We as men, we long for what's the word, validation from other men, and not in like a homosexual way or anything like that. That's not what I mean. But it's like if you look at a successful person, they judge each other based on their accomplishments and they judge each other based on tangible things that you can measure. Well, being a man, you know only another man can tell you that you're a man. Obviously, as a man, you know that you're a man, you have the male parts. That's not exactly what I'm speaking about. What I'm talking about is the title. You know what I'm saying? Like a man wants to be respected among his peers. A man wants to feel like a man amongst men. That's just the competitive drive that exists within us. And in that spirit of competition, you want to make sure that other men understand that, hey, I'm that guy. And again, I'm not talking like in a weird way or in a any other way other than that. What I mean is, as men, of course we want women, and we want the most women. And if you're not careful, it goes out of line. A lot of us go through women in order to validate ourselves because if we get a bunch of women, then other men look and say, oh yeah, that's that dude right there. And really we think that we're proving our manhood, but really what we're doing is we're just showing our insecurities. And by no means am I saying, don't go out and get women, bro. You got to live your life. You got to have fun. But what I mean is, everything is in moderation. There's healthy ways to express yourself, and then there's ways that just, too much of anything can be a bad thing. And again, I'm not saying don't live your life or there's anything wrong with dating or spinning plates or whatever they're calling it these days. You definitely want to sow your oats and you definitely want to live life. But, a lot of us, we want to have children, we want to procreate, and we want to, what I'm saying, pass down our legacies and build the next generation in our image. Let me see. We got Dan in here. What's going on, my brother Daniel? Let me make you a moderator, man. I've been meaning to do this for a minute. I appreciate you coming through. Um, I'm gonna give you that little wrench, that tool belt, so you can be a mod in the chat, man. my guy Daniel is a father as well. He has 3 children. Shout out to Dan. He is true to this, and he's been married for a minute as well. So shout out to my guy Dan, man. Welcome. Appreciate you being here, brother. Um, Let me see what he said. Yeah, I think millennials are stepping up because we experienced a lack from the previous generation. They had different hurdles than us and less options to stay around as much. Yeah, man. And we're gonna get into that. I'm not staying on too long, but I do want to address these things. So that was my monologue. Let's see. No doubt, man. Long time coming. I'm glad you paused. I'm glad you popped up in the live so I can actually give you the badge. You've been holding it down in the comment sections for a very long time, and I appreciate you, my brother. So it's only right. I know you ain't gonna let things get too crazy in here, so we definitely gonna make you a mod. Let me figure out what's going on because it's acting crazy right now. But I got you, bro. All right, let's dig into this article real quick because I do have to get back to the fam. So obviously, it talks about how millennials differ from baby boomers, which we all knew. That was no mystery. That's nothing crazy. We know. We that kind of went without saying. Everybody makes it clear that millennials are different, and it is what it is. For better or for worse, we are who we are. Let me see. Right here, obviously, it's highlighted, so that's something I wanted to hit on. Millennial dads spend 3 times as much time with their kids when compared to men from 2 generations ago, according to 2 years old research from the Pew Research Center in 2017. Hmm, that's off because it says 2017, and that ain't 2 years ago. So, you know, according to years old. My bad. Excuse me, English teacher messing up on live. That's crazy. But yeah, according to years old research from the Pew Research Center in 2017. So yeah, like I was saying, this is something that I can 100% agree with. As a father, for a long time when I wasn't married, it was just me and Coy when he wasn't with his mom. And, I'm like, yo, I need him every weekend. Initially, when I was living in Charlotte and I was by myself, and even when I had janky situations financially, I was living with other people, or, I didn't have my own place. I was bringing him up every weekend and we were doing everything. You know what I'm saying? It's just because I needed that time. And what I couldn't make up with money, I made up with time. So when I was going through financial hardships and my bag wasn't together, or you know things were just shaky financially, I was still there. Like, I was always there with my son no matter what, because sometimes that was all I had. I was, don't get it twisted. Like, I was a hustler. I figure out, maybe I could buy some shoes, or maybe I could do this. So, from the financial aspect, I always tried to do the best I could, but in moments and times where I fell short, then I always was there with time. And I mean, that really ultimately, man, that's what our kids, especially our boys, need, man. They need time. They need us to be there. They need us to answer their questions. They need us to, again, validate them, man. And again, not validate in a weird way, but just let them know, like, hey, you are enough. Like, you're doing the right things. These are what you need to do. Because ultimately, again, one day we're not going to be here. And so we have to make sure that we impart that knowledge to them so that they can come out here and compete to the best of their abilities. Let me see. Newer fathers are desiring to be better partners to their children's mothers, tackling more responsibilities around the house with the kids, according to additional research. And I agree with that as well. Even Koi's mother and I, we're not married. We never were married. We were in a relationship for a very long time, and then it didn't work out, and things went left for a very long time. And usually when a lot of the things went left, it was, um some of it was financial, but for the most part it was philosophical, just as far as beliefs and things that we kind of disagreed on. Those were a lot of things because a lot of people always think it's money. Sometimes it's not necessarily money. Sometimes it's just different ideologies and belief systems, and how what you see for yourself and what your vision is and what their vision is, and sometimes they just don't align. So, for example, here's one. I wanted to quit teaching and move into real estate at a different capacity because I knew over time, there would be more benefits. And in the beginning, it was rough, but then things kind of worked out. And, with me being in real estate at this position now, it's safe to say that my bet paid off. Now, granted, we went through a lot of rough times and it was ugly, but my bet paid off. And her at the time, she was thinking more security, more, hey, we can't worry about the future. We got to worry about right now because these bills is due. And, neither one of us was wrong because she was right. Ultimately, the bills were due and they had to get paid. And, I'm like, we could figure it out. We could work together. And, things went left. And, it's just, luckily, we've been able to coexist and co-parent in a way that's healthy and beneficial for Koi, which is what it's all about. So I agree with that statement right there as well. Um, a 2019 survey says that 85% of fathers at the time would do anything to be home with their babies. Um, yeah, I kind of agree with that. That's kind of where I'm like, I don't know about that. And for the simple fact that unless I'm at home making money for the babies, then I need to be making money. I need to be out here because I don't know. I guess I'm a different kind of millennial because I'm all about getting out here and running it up, and not even running it up from a standpoint of hustle culture, but just like making sure that things are secure and more in place. And I think I'm a little more traditional on that aspect. So, I can sit around and be home for like 3 or 4 days and just chill and play the game and de-stress and declutter. But around day 4, day 5, I need to be out doing something. Like I'm gonna cut the grass. Like I'm gonna figure out a way to get some money because ultimately the bills got to be due, and we got to pay them. So, you know, on that part, it's kind of, yeah, I get it, I understand. Unless I could figure out a way to make money at home, which there are things out there, and something a little bit more flexible. I've been down that road before that kind of works out, but ultimately, you got to make sure that you support the kids too, which is super important. Let me see. Many millennial dads are attempting to change social perceptions of fatherhood, insisting that they never babysit their kids as they're just being what they should be, a parent. I mean, yeah, that one I guess is obvious, man. Like if it's your kids, you're not babysitting. Babysitters get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, like if my wife was paying me to watch the kids and we had a salary set up, then yeah, I'd be babysitting. Yeah, we gotta provide for exactly, man. That's just yeah, we gotta provide, bro. Ultimately, that's just is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I never really understood that. If you with your kids, you're not babysitting because it's your kid. That's your responsibility. You know what I mean? Like it's literally what you decide to do when you decide to have a kid. You gonna watch them because that's what you do. That's like me washing my hands and saying, "Oh, I'm a sanitizing manager." Like, no, bro, you gotta wash your hands so you don't get germs. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I get my oil changed and I say I'm a mechanic now. No, I'm not a mechanic. It's my car and I need to get my oil changed. Otherwise, I won't have a car anymore. Like, I don't know. That one's like it's kind of obvious, but okay. In 1982, a stunning 43% of dads at the time admitted to a study that they have never changed a diaper. That's crazy. Like I don't know enough about 1982 to speak on that because I wasn't here in 1982, so I don't know what the men were like in 1982. But what I've seen, it looks like that's a realistic stat. I mean, the 1982 generation of guys, man, no disrespect, but it's just a different kind of guy. I seen pictures of y'all, man. I seen what y'all was doing at Freaknik in the 90s and stuff. So it's safe to assume how y'all was running around in the 80s, man. I mean, No disrespect though, but I mean, hey. What else we got? Let me see. Help, I'm gonna be a dad. Sure that he unfortunately didn't have. See, this right here, this part right here, this right here is really, 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 really what it is, man. And I think that's why a lot of us go so hard in terms of being fathers, because we didn't have fathers to pull experience from. And again, I don't want to make it seem like my father wasn't involved or he wasn't in my life. He was. But again, he was 4 hours away. And, you know, I never really felt like if I was going through something, that would be the first person that I call, and I would get, some sound advice or an answer. Not to say that my dad isn't dummy or anything like that. It's just a comfort level. I never really felt comfortable calling my dad and asking him for advice on anything. Um, so when it came to me dealing with my kid first, my oldest kid, Coy, I always felt like, whatever I want to do, I just have to make sure the things that I didn't like, I just did the opposite. So, with my dad not being there because he lived 4 hours away, for a long time I felt like I had to overcompensate and I had to be there for everything. Let me see. Jamari Johnson, my guy, changed the narrative. What's good, Jamari? Appreciate you pulling in, bro. Appreciate you stopping by, man. But yeah, that is something, and I don't know if the article is gonna touch on it. We're reading this one together. I saw it and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna save it. So, a lot of times, am I doing that? Oh, that's dope. A lot of times, man, we get in a position. All right, it was cool the first time. Jamari, what you did, man? You done gave a virus to my laptop, bro. Nah, I'm just playing. Anyways, a lot of time, we overcompensate, thinking that we have to be there every time, all the time, for everything, because we didn't have that. And, I had to learn the hard way that it's just literally not possible. I'm going to be there as much as I can. I'm going to do everything that I can. And if I can't make it, I'm not going to have you looking out the window thinking I'm going to come. I'm going to let you know, you know. And that has been giving me a lot of relief, and it's been giving me a lot of peace of mind knowing that it's physically impossible for me to be there all the time for everything. It's just not possible. I'm only one person. I can only be at one place at a time. You know what I'm saying? As much as I would love to create a clone, it's just not realistic. So, I won't be able to be there for everything. But just because I'm not there doesn't mean that I don't love you. I don't care about you. It just means that I can't physically be at that space in the moment. And then when we get together, I'm gonna make up for it. So yeah, I can definitely see how, not having a father, or, having a father, but your father isn't there, creates that, because I'm a product of that. Um, and here it is right here. Ben admits that he put way too much pressure on himself, but it was important that his son had a better childhood than he did. See, you can't make it up, man. It's crazy because no matter the race, we all go through the same thing from that aspect. Like, if your father's not there, then either you gonna become your father and be the exact same way, or you're gonna be the total opposite and overcompensate and almost burn yourself out. So here we go. I purposely never tell my son we have plans unless I am 100% sure I won't have to cancel at the last minute. Exactly, man. Like, I'm telling y'all, that feeling of looking out the window, thinking that your dad is gonna come and he don't show up, like, man, that right there will break you, man. Like, as a child, you expecting somebody to show up and they don't, and you excited. And then the crazy thing is, like, a lot of times we weren't even about to do nothing special, man. It was just being with my father. It was like, yeah, man, I ain't seen my dad in a long time. He coming through, and you know, I'ma see him. That's it. That's all it takes. Just knowing that you gonna see him. Oh, we down. We rolling. And then when you get that first letdown, it's like it deflates you, it hurts you, but you still have hope. And then the second time it happens, you have a little less hope. And then, the more it happens, the more you become callous, the more you become jaded, the more you don't care. It's like, you know what? And then that's when you start overcompensation. Like, I don't need them. Like, it's whatever. And then you end up looking like Will Smith in that episode of The Fresh Prince, man. Like, that was real. That was a very real depiction. And again, I overcompensate massively for what I didn't get emotionally. Same thing, man. Like we all have the same characteristics. It's crazy. Mhm. In a slight contrast, another millennial father said that he had a great relationship with his father, but he still wanted to do things a bit differently. You know, I wouldn't say that my father and I had a great relationship growing up. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't the worst. And I'm not gonna sit up here and beat my dad up and make it seem like he was a deadbeat because he 100% was not. All I'm saying, and I just got to keep reiterating it because I want to make sure that it's understood. I love my dad, man. I call my dad right now and we'll chop it up. But, in terms of just being there, man, sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's not about the clothes. Sometimes it's just simply being there. Again, like I just told y'all earlier, like most of the times when we were together, like we wasn't even really doing nothing extravagant. It was just me being with my father was enough for me to be like, all right, I'm excited. Like we ain't gonna do nothing, but I'm just with him. Because again, we just need that validation from our fathers, honestly. And if we don't get it from fathers, then we start making up mentors or the problem with a lot of these kids, people judge them, and I'm gonna say it. A lot of these kids look up to rappers and they look up to people outside of themselves, and they find external mentors, or they turn to games, or they turn to other stuff. If their fathers were more present, then that wouldn't have been the case, you know. And I'm not gonna get into all the we need more black fathers, blah blah blah. No, because there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. There's two of them right here, right now in the chat. I seen it was like 5 of them in here earlier. So, it's not I'm not about to sit here and wag the finger and act like there's not our generation. I'm just gonna talk about our generation. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to talk about the generation before, cool, that's fair. But when you look at the kids today, because those not our kids, those aren't our kids. It's like a generation or two before, or maybe one, but those aren't our kids. And you can see the difference. Like, you know, it is what it is. Um, moving on. Let me see what else is good. Additional priorities. There will always be times where mom and dad feel like they need a break from their babies. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. And don't feel bad about that. It's just sometimes, bro, you need a break, man. For me, for example, when I need a break, I come in the office and I'll just jot down notes, or it's when I'm being productive. When I'm being unproductive, then I'm gonna play the game. But you need that time, man. That time is critical, it's crucial. Because as men, not only are we workhorses, but we have to be planners and we have to be executors as well. And we got to plan. And sometimes you just got to sit down and you got to think and you got to have a clear mind. So you need those moments where you can just go into yourself and regroup. If you're a religious person, Jesus went in the wilderness and he got his mind right. So you definitely need that time where you can just go somewhere and collect your thoughts and regroup and go over. Like I got charts and graphs everywhere, y'all. I got whiteboards over there, I got calendars over there. That's how I think. I gotta plot these things out. Like I'm already thinking about the next 300 videos that I want to do. And I need that time. And my wife understands it and she's respectful and she gives me that, and I appreciate that for her. I appreciate her for that rather. So um, and she needs her time too. Like sometimes I watch the kids and let her go do her thing. I got. Let me show y'all something, man. So y'all know I ain't playing. You see that little thing right there? That looks like a cage. You know what I'm saying? That's where I put Amir. Amir is wild, man. Like if I don't, he gonna be running around, just knocking stuff over, getting into stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got a you can't see it right here, but I got a TV right next to my desk setup. And then I have a TV right here on the floor. I have two TVs in this room. a monitor, and a laptop. The reason that I have two TVs is because while I'm working or while I'm thinking or while I'm getting stuff done, or even if I'm playing a game, I got Coco Melon going on. I got Gracie's Corner going on. I got the Snoop Dogg joint. What's it called? Doggy Land. I can't think of it right now. But I got something going on to keep him, chill. And then when I have Amir and Amani, which is my baby girl, same thing. I set her down. I put her somewhere because she ain't walking, she ain't moving. She's like 3 weeks. So I sit her down and I'm doing what I need to do. When Coy's here, Koi is old enough to where he'll do his own thing. He'll come and go as he please, and we'll go from there. My guy, Heard, what's going on, bro? Long time, man. We gotta connect, man. It's been too long. I'm gonna text you and check in on you and everything. Appreciate you for tuning in. Um, so yeah, when wifey need a break, then all three of us will come in the room. I'll set them up. And Corey's a really good helper too. He's excited about being a brother right now, so he helps out a lot. So yeah, when wife needs a break, that's cool. I'll take the load. The same thing with Coy's mom too. Like, it was one time she called, Coy was acting up, and it was like in the middle of a week too. Like, back then I had a job that was a little bit more flexible. So, I went down there and got him. I took him to work with me for the week. He was showing off and, well, he was expressing himself in a way that was not proper for his age. So I picked him up and I took him and he was with me for the week. We were going to work. You know what I'm saying? I had his behind out there helping me in the field. So yeah, the mothers need breaks too. It's not about being uh a chauvinistic male that just can't be there for your kids. Like that's never what it's about. But if you working and you out there in the field, then yeah, you got different situations, and that boils down to what's going on. Well, the communication between you and your wife, or you and your significant other, or you and your baby moms. Hopefully, y'all are at a point where you can communicate and speak about it. So yeah, let's move on. Hmm. The price of not. Oh. The price of not taking accountability. That's just talking about fathers not being involved. Um, therapists. So yeah, lots of. Oh, this is talking about the boomers and how they were acting. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna attack them. There's plenty of people that attack baby boomers and whatnot. But yeah, she was saying that when she posted an article talking about baby boomers and millennials and how they responded to, it's a therapist. She made a post talking about accountability and healing relationships, and a lot of the boomers apparently got defensive. They started attacking, name calling, changing the topics. And yeah, man, yeah, man, that's, we all know how our parents are, man. Like that's all I'm gonna say, man. Like we know how our parents can be when they'll throw around therapist terms that they don't know nothing about, and they never want to admit that they wrong, or they just can't. They'll focus on keeping the problem going on rather than finding a solution. And I'm not attacking my parents, guys. I'm just saying, generally, based on my experience with older people in those generations, there's a whole lot of deflection, there's a whole lot of lack of accountability, there's a whole lot of what is it? I want, not self accountability, but self actualization, I guess you could say. People not really understanding the role that they played in situations. Yeah, I can't think of the word right. So, dang, not self accountability, self awareness, self awareness. There's a lack of self awareness with those guys, man, and women. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Hey, self freaking awareness. There's a lack of self awareness, man. I don't know what it is about that generation, but they just really don't understand how they contribute to situations and the ripple effects that they bring to the table. They, it's easy to point fingers and say, "Oh, XYZ did this and that to me," but sometimes you got to look at yourself and say, "Hey, well, if I didn't do XYZ, then maybe they wouldn't have reacted that way, or if I did this, or they wouldn't have did that." Hold on, y'all. hold on. Pause. We got to stop everything for a second. My boy Norman Nation has entered the chat. Norm, what's good, brother? Salute. Shout out to the hitters, man. Shout out to the hitters. I purposely picked a Tuesday night because I knew if you was on, nobody was coming to my stock. Man, if y'all don't follow Norman Nation, man, y'all need to check out Norm, man. That's my guy. Norm put me on this microphone. Um, Norm gave me a lot of good game and advice in this YouTube thing. And I just got to give my guy his flowers, man. Shout out to Norm, man. Make sure y'all check out Norman Nation. That is his real name, which is super dope. Norman, really good guy. If you down on a Monday, he'll give you some motivation. He has a very beautiful family. Norm is that guy, man. So make sure y'all check him out on YouTube, man. He definitely gave me a lot of gems. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I appreciate that. We were talking about millennial fathers and the difference between us and boomers and Generation X in terms of wives and kids and things of that nature. Let me see. So yeah, moving right along. Like I said, make sure y'all check out Norman Nation, man. That's my guy. Really solid guy, man. But yeah, y'all know how y'all parents are, man. If y'all parent, man. Y'all know, man. That self accountability is a killer, bro. So anyways, let me see. I'm not gonna beat up boomers. I'm not. There's plenty. Like I said, there's plenty people that beat up boomers. I'm not gonna do it. Um, Let me see. What else did I see that was pretty good? Um, I didn't read it, but I did glance over it because I didn't want to come in here half stepping. I need this link when you're done. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll drop it in the chat. Let me see. I'll drop it in the chat and I'll text it to you as well. But there you go. My dog Nori, man, I appreciate it. I ain't even think about that. Yeah, man. If you like this, because I plan on doing this a lot more. I already know next week we're gonna be talking about the loneliness epidemic within male fathers, which, by the way, I'm in a lot of different fatherhood group chats in Charlotte and just around like Facebook groups and different things like that. So I am going to be sharing some stories that I've been hearing from other fathers. Of course, I'm going to not reveal names or anything like that, but you know, Jamar, you hit the nail on the head earlier. The primary focus is changing the narrative, man. Like articles like this, they get swept under the rug, but every time you go on social media, you see people talking about splitting 50-50 or the gender war or a whole bunch of stuff that don't matter. And and it'll have you thinking that there are no black relationships or black men ain't taking care of their kids or black men are just running around assaulting people. And those things do happen. Like I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that, there aren't people that are, there are deadbeat millennials, you know what I'm saying? There are woman beater millennials. But that's everybody. But over the majority, you know what I'm saying, if you're a father and you're a millennial, more than likely you're involved in your children's life. Like my friends, I don't really know anybody that's not involved in their child's life. You know, we live up to our responsibility, like, and it's crazy. I'm gonna share this, and maybe it's personal, so I don't know. Maybe one day it'll get to somebody and they'll know I'm talking about them. But it is what it is. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I know some baby boomers and Generation X that have kids out there, and they brag about not taking care of them. Like they laugh and they joke, and they don't get confirmation. They don't, or they have confirmation and they just don't care. Like I've seen that happen, and it's a very, very, very unfortunate situation because they don't think about the ripple effects and what they're creating. Like they're making monsters. Because children that grow up in single parent households, at very best, you'll get a Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Frankenstein. And what I mean by a Frankenstein is, I'm imbalanced. I'm like a child that has both of their parents, they have balance because they have their father, they have their mother. And obviously, I'm talking about in a perfect situation. I'm not talking about not even a perfect, I'm just talking about a normal situation. I mean, of course, you have situations where you have a father that was coming in and just kicking everybody and being crazy and abusive and whatnot. That happens, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what I'm talking about. That's another category of people that didn't heal and people that didn't grow. I'm talking about normal households where you have a balanced relationship between the mother and the father and you get both aspects. You know what I'm saying? When that doesn't happen and you only get too much of one thing and not enough of the other thing, then you go looking for that other thing. You may find that other thing in ways that you don't need. So, that's what I mean by saying a Frankenstein. It took a lot of work on myself and a lot of, you know, reading books and speaking to people that actually had substance and people that were giving me games and not games, but people that, actually had solid concrete foundation and they had evidence. Those were people that I listened to and they were able to help me become a more actualized man, a more balanced man, to be able to be self accountable and be able to be aware of, hey, that's not very masculine what you're doing right now. You on that single mother behavior, and they would get me right and they let you know, like, hey man, as a man, you don't do that. This is what you do. And that type of stuff is needed. And when you don't get it, like I just said. So back to the article, we almost wrapping it up. You know, right here is just talking about iPhone dads and technology, sophisticated. Now this right here is definitely true. Millennial fathers are mostly sophisticated consumers who demonstrate their authority through displays of taste, a refined taste in coffee makers is an example, sharing books, which I just talked about, music, movies, video games. I'm gonna throw in sneakers. I'm gonna throw in fashion. Those are the types of things. I guess that's how we are sophisticated consumers. Like my guy Norm, man, with the sneakers and whatnot, we're sophisticated consumers. I mean, look at the fitted. I mean, I'm gonna throw that in there. But yeah, we are very sophisticated consumers. But not even on that aspect, because seriously, if I'm about to get some work done for a car or something, I'm not just gonna look at one. I'm gonna look at three and I'm gonna compare the price and I'm gonna come up with the best option. Or, if we're making a decision or something like that, I'm gonna research it and then make the best decision based off of aggregated data. I don't know if y'all hear Amir trying to get in here, but oh Lord. I hope they watching my baby, man. We gonna wrap it up, man, cause I gotta get back to being dad real quick. I just wanted to chime in, and we're almost at the end. Um, most of the dads spoken with haven't found a need to put away their childish things. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Why they gotta call it childish, bro? Like, children don't make video games, so I don't think that that's childish. There's some very very high level video games out there, man. There's comics out there. Like, we have hobbies, and I think that here's where it kind of goes left, because if men have hobbies, then people will automatically try to make it seem like it's childish. But no, like I told y'all earlier, men need hobbies. We need things to do that aren't directly tied into making money, so that we can decompress and we can think and we can prepare and just breathe, man. We got enough that we have to deal with out in this world. you know One of my guys, I hope I'm not gonna say the name, but one of my homeboys, they collect Legos. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually cool, and they come up with some very cool Lego designs. Another one of my homeboys, baseball cards. Comics. I'm really big on comics. I'm real big on video games. That's me. Everybody should have something that they do, but I also like fishing. I also like other things. It's okay to have things that aren't directly tied into, you know, pursuing your passion or chasing your goal or getting after the bag. And you shouldn't let anybody shame you into not doing those things. If you like playing video games, man, listen, when I finish, I'm probably gonna get on the game. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna lie. And I ain't talking Madden or 2K. Nah, I'm a gamer. Like, no disrespect to the Madden and 2K people, but I'm shooting some aliens, or I'm fighting some zombies, or I'm getting deep in the trenches with my games. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. We should have hobbies, and we should have ways to express ourselves other than working and whatnot. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let me see. See, this is what I don't like right here. Like I just said, I don't like when people try to make it seem like there's something wrong with that. There's an argument to be made that the millennial father is trapped in eternal adolescence. I may do that, may be a separate one where we talk about that, of how, people try to shame men from having activities outside of working, you know what I'm saying? Or pushing them down other lanes that don't have anything to do with anything. Like, what I'm saying? You're not less of a man if you play video games, or you're not less of a man if you collect comics, or whatever you do, man. Like, what I'm saying? Like, nah, we not about to sit here and do that. That's not cool at all. Whatever. But the millennial generation, and then it ends up with explaining this, for those of you who don't know. Bird watch. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Bird watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an inside joke, man. One day I'll tell y'all about bird watching. But those born from 1981 to 96 are millennials. Gen X is comprised of people from 1965 to 1980, and baby boomers are people born from 1946 to 1964. So with that being said, let me see. Without aging them, my mom and my dad would be baby boomers. Yeah, let me see. I think I got everybody. Um, what I'm going to do is, since we're getting close to the end, I've never done this before. I want to test out this feature, no pressure at all. Um, I want to see if anybody wants to come up for a second and chop it up before I end this live stream. So I just dropped the link. If you want to come up, you're more than welcome. If not, I'm gonna go ahead on and wrap this one up. I found an article next week that we're gonna talk about. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna show y'all. Y'all do some research if you want. Oh Lord, they just destroying my baby. Let me see. Lonely father epidemic. I think that'll bring up the, yeah. So next week, this is what we're gonna be talking about: the male loneliness epidemic and how it affects fathers. That's where we going next week. I'm gonna save it. I think I'm gonna do these once a week on Tuesday nights. So yeah, that's where we at with it, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Curtis York. I drop content relating to fatherhood, family, fashion. We gonna get these sneaker videos off. That's what you guys want. So we're gonna be doing some more unboxings. But we're definitely gonna be leaning more into this fatherhood content because it's needed. Like I said, I'm in a lot of group chats. I'm in a lot of these groups online, Charlotte fatherhood groups about fatherhood nationally. And I don't really see many people like us talking about these issues. And so instead of complaining about it, I just decided that I'm going to step up and change the narrative. And I'm gonna do it. And I know it's a long arduous journey, but just seeing you guys in here, and some of y'all have been in here the whole time, I definitely appreciate it. It's a weeknight, so I know some of y'all have things to do as well. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit up here, we're gonna dissect some articles, we're gonna talk about it, and in the end, we're gonna open it up to see, pause what anybody else has to say. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to come on live, which is totally fine. I think I'm gonna plan to have some fathers on here maybe next time so they can speak their opinions, and we'll go through the articles together. But we building it as we go, man. I'm working on getting more comfortable in front of the mic and chopping it up. So, we working on it, man. With that being said, my baby is crying. I gotta go. Make sure he's good. I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. Once again, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. If you found value in this information, if you like the article and you want to see this more often, then do me a favor and share this to somebody else that'll benefit. But with that being said, y'all, I'm out. I gotta go. Appreciate y'all.